Hi everyone, welcome to IAS by Heart. This is our prelims series, one-stop solution to crack prelims. And this is our third environment class session. And today we are going to discuss about 10 new topics. Our very first question is, with reference to Bombay Natural History Society, consider the following statements. First statement, it is an autonomous organization under Ministry of Environment and Forest. Second one, it strives to conserve nature through action-based research, education, and public awareness. Third one, it organizes and conducts natural trials and camps for the general public. Which of the statements is or correct? Here we have to select the right answer. With reference to this BNHS, this is not an autonomous organization. This BNHS is a NGO, non-governmental organization. So our first statement will be wrong. Here our second statement, it strives to conserve nature through action-based research, education and public awareness. This is our right statement, and moreover, in this BNHS, they conduct nature trials, camps for the general public. So our answer is 2 and 3. So that option C is our answer. See, here is our explanation. BNHS. This BNHS is a Pan-India Wildlife Research Organization. See, it was created in 1883. The cause is for due to the nature conservation. The mission of BNHS is to conservation of nature as well as primarily biological diversity. So how to conserve this nature and primarily biological diversity? This was conserved based on the action based research as well as education and public awareness. So the vision of this BNHS is also based on excelling in the conservation of threatened species and habitats. See, this BNHS is a largest NGO, that's a largest non-governmental organization founded in 15 September 1883. Its headquarters located in Hornbill House, Mumbai. It supports many research efforts through grant, publishes a journal of Bombay Natural History Society. Moreover, this BNHS is a partner in BirdLife International in India. It has been designated as a scientific and industrial research organization by the Department of Science and Technology. So, these are additional points. BNHS has over 5,000 members across 30 countries. How to become the membership of this BNHS? Or what are the qualification of the to become the member of this BNHS? This BNHS is open to individuals, institutions and corporate bodies within India and abroad. Special concession are given to the students below the age of 25. On becoming the member of this society, we can participate in many activities like nature camps, nature trials, slide talk, film shows, as well as conservation campaigns. Our second question is, in the context of ecosystem productivity, marine upwelling zones are important as they increase the marine productivity by bringing the first one, decomposers microorganism to the surface, second one, nutrients to the surface, third one, bottom dwelling organisms to the surface. Which of the above statements is correct? Here, in the context of ecosystem productivity, marine upwelling zones are important because they increase the marine productivity by bringing the nutrients to the surface. It doesn't bring the decomposers microorganism to the surface, or it doesn't bring bottom dwelling organisms to the surface. So our option will be second one. So B is our right answer, and here is our explanation. See here, please note this term upwelling zone. What is meant by upwelling zone? See the diagram. See here, this is a warm surface water, and here this is our cold water. As the surface winds push surface water away from this area, so that here there will be a vacuum created on this area. In order to fill this vacuum, the water from the bottom region, that's nothing but our cold water, comes and occupy this space. So while coming this cold water, it brings the rich nutrients only. It doesn't bring any microorganisms or anything. So see the explanation. See, this is our upwelling. Upwelling means nothing but our ocean surface water pushes away means the below water to replace that pushed water. So that's the process of upwelling zone. So in this upwelling zone, it's a typically colder in nature as well as it is rich in nutrients. This area is good for fishing grounds. Note this point, this is a very important point. See this map. This is a region of ocean currents. Here there are a lot of great fishing grounds are across the world. First one is a Newfoundland, which is located near this Labrador Current and this Gulf Stream. See, this Gulf Stream is a warm current as well as this Labrador Current is a cold current. When this Labrador cold current and Gulf Stream it converges, so that will be a great fishing ground. So as well as this Kuroshio and Oyashio fishing grounds, Kuroshio and Oyashio currents. Oyashio current is a cold current and Kuroshio current is a warm current, which is a very good source for a fishing ground. This is called as a great fishing ground of Japan. So whenever the warm current and cold current meets, this will be a very good production of fish. So this is our third question. The red data book published by the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources contain list of first one endemic plant and animal species present in the biodiversity hotspot, second one threatened plant and animal species, third one protected sites for conservation of nature and natural resources in various countries. Here we have to select the right answer. So this red data book published by the IUCN contains a list of only threatened plant and animal species. So it doesn't contain this endemic plant and animal species present in the biodiversity hotspot. It doesn't contain protected sites for conservation of nature and natural resources in various countries. So our option will be second one. That's B is our right answer. See, here is our explanation. This IUCN, it was created in 1948. This contains of both the government as well as civil society organization, and moreover its headquarters is located in Switzerland. This IUCN red list of threatened species is the most comprehensive inventory of global conservation status of this plant and animal species. Moreover, this is a global authority for the status of natural world and the measure need to safeguard it. Extra points about this IUCN. See, this IUCN consists of 9 list of categories extend from not evaluated to extinct. See here, this is 9 categories. First one not evaluated, data deficient, least concern, near threatened, vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, extinct in the wild and extinct. These are the 9 categories. So in these 9 categories, critically endangered, endangered and vulnerable are the species considered to be threatened with the extinction. Our next question is, consider the following statements with related to the IPBES. First one, it is an independent intergovernmental body. Second one, it is open to all the member countries of UN. Which of the following statements is or correct? Here, this IPBES is a independent intergovernmental body as well as it is open to all the member countries of UN. So our option will be C, both 1 and 2. See, here is our explanation. This will be little bit elaborate because this is a very important topic. See, this IPBES means Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services. This is an independent intergovernmental body The aim of this is to create a science policy interface for biodiversity and ecosystem services for the conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity. It was established in Panama City in the year 2012 by 94 governments. This IPBS, one more function is very important. This is a science related forum. So scientists will be participating and they will be collecting information. After collecting the information, they will be prepared some assessment report called as Global Assessment Report. Here, any member of the UN can join this body. It is not the United Nations body. Moreover, this IPBES made a request to UNEP because to provide for the secretariat service to the IPBES. This was approved by the UNEP in the year 2013 by the Governing Council. See, this is the 4 complementary areas of IPBES. First one, assessment, policy support, and third one, building capacity and knowledge. Fourth one, communications and outreach. See, in this assessment, there will be assessment on specific themes like pollinators, pollination, food production, and moreover, they also create some policy support by identifying policy relevant tools and building capacity and knowledge, as well as communication and outreach. So, in this specific themes and moreover, they are also created some regional and global level assessments of biodiversity and ecosystem service. That is called as our Global Assessment Report of 2019. Moreover, this IPBES talks about the how extinctions happening and why this extinctions happening because of climate change, and moreover they talk about the availability of food for entire species and talks about the habitats. See, this is the key findings of this report. Up to 577 billion worth of annual global food production that depends upon the contribution by the pollinators. So the pollinators are very important. See here, agricultural production depend on animal pollination because it's increased by 300% for over 50 years, past 50 years. Next one, nearly 90% of the wild flowering plants depend upon some extent to this animal pollinations. However, this pollinator dependent crops shows some lower growth and stability in yield than crops that do not depend on the pollinators. See here, 16% of the vertebrate pollinators are threatened with the global extinction. In case of island, it is a 30%. So, in order to protect these pollinators, a range of actions can be taken in order to ensure the greater diversity of habitats. The actions are, we can promote the sustainable agriculture to support traditional practices like crop rotations, and moreover to give wider education, knowledge exchange, and to decrease the exposure of pollinators to the pesticides, because these pesticides kill this pollinator. If these pollinators are affected, means it will affect it will create a major problem for our food processing industries also, and moreover it created a farmer suicides, etc, etc. See our next question. Consider the following statements. First one, isolated islands have high biodiversity. Second one, polar areas have lower biodiversity than the equatorial areas. Third one, biodiversity is high in the ecosystem where competition for a resource is high. Fourth one, human interferences increases biodiversity of an ecosystem. Which of the above statements is or incorrect? See here, the question here asked was which of the above statement is incorrect. So please be cautious about this type of questions. See this fourth statement. Human interferences increases biodiversity of an ecosystem. No, this is a wrong statement, because human interferences decreases the biodiversity of an ecosystem, like deforestation, degradation of land, so etc, etc. So our fourth statement will be incorrect statement. See the second statement. Polar areas have lower biodiversity than the equatorial areas. See, in this equatorial areas, we are having a high temperature as well as high precipitation, so that the biodiversity of this area was very rich. But in case of polar regions where temperature and precipitation was very low, here we are having a lower biodiversity. So second statement is right? By eliminating second statement, we are getting our option as C. So this question is based on our elimination strategy. See the third statement, biodiversity is high in the ecosystem where competition for resources is high. Take an example like hot equatorial region. In that hot equatorial region, biodiversity is very high, but the competition for the resource is very low, not very low. Competition for resource is low when compared to the savanna grassland. But in case of savanna grassland, the biodiversity is low when compared to the hot equatorial region, but the competition for that region is very high. So the third statement also incorrect. And see the first statement, isolated islands have low biodiversity. So our option is C. See, here is our explanation. Isolated islands have relatively low primary diversity, and second one, equator receives more solar energy than polar regions, so that equator receives high productivity and high species diversity. Moreover, biodiversity is high in the ecosystem where the competition for the resource is low. See here, biodiversity is high in the ecosystem where the competition for resource is high. This is a wrong statement. See, human interferences like decreases the biodiversity of an ecosystem. Some human interferences like destruction and degradation and fragmentation of habitats. Some reduction of individual survival and reproductive rates through exploitation, pollution, and introduction of some alien species like Proposis julifera. See the next question. With reference to the ecosystem services, consider the following statements. First one, provisioning service is a service such as the production of food and water. Regulating service is considered as such as the control of climate and diseases. Third one, supporting service is a service such as nutrient cycles and crop pollination. Which of the above statements given is or incorrect? Here, in order to understand this question, see, there are four types of services, provisioning services, cultural services, regulating services and supporting services. In provisioning services, it consists of food production, water, wood and fiber and fuel. Supporting services consist of nutrient cycle, soil formation and habitat provision. Regulating services consist of climate regulation as well as flood regulation, water purification. Cultural services like spiritual, aesthetic, educational and recreational. So this is about these four types of services. By using this, we are getting our option as D. That's nothing but all the above three statements. So here is our explanation. What is meant by ecosystem services? See, as a humans, not only humans, all species derive lot of benefits from biotic as well as abiotic components. These benefits are collectively termed as ecosystem services. Like we receive air, water, these are the type of ecosystem services. So depend upon these ecosystem services, there are classified into four types. First one, provisioning services, which consist of food, water, medicine, and as well as wood, biofuels, etc. Second one is regulating services. These regulating services which regulate the ecological balance. For example, take forest. This forest purifies and regulate the air quality as well as it prevent soil erosion and control of greenhouse gases also. Some biotic components like birds, rats and frogs, these three are act as a natural controller which will help in pest and disease control. So hence ecosystem, this act as a regulators also. Next one, supporting services. Supporting services are nothing but it supports all the three services like cultural services, provisional services, regulating services. So these supporting services provided habitat for different life forms. And then the cultural services. These cultural services includes tourism, recreational, aesthetic, culturals and spiritual services also. Moreover, most natural elements such as landscapes, mountains, caves are used for these artistic purposes also. And then economic benefits are also provided by these cultural services in the name of tourism. Please note this diagram or draw this diagram. It's very important. Next question. Kajinsara Lake was recently in news. Consider the following statements in this regard. First one, Kajinsara Lake is located in Manang district of Nepal. Second one, the lake would be the world's highest lake if its altitude of 5000 plus meters. Third one, currently Tilicho Lake holds the title of the world's highest lake. Choose the correct code given below. See here, this Kajinsara Lake located in, yes, this is a right statement. This lake would be the world's highest lake if its altitude, yes, this is also a right statement. Third one, this Tilichau Lake holds the title of world highest lake. This is also the right statement. So our option will be D, all the above. See, here is our explanation. This lake is located at Singagarka area of Manang district of Nepal. This lake was discovered by a team of mountaineers few months ago. It is located at an altitude of 5200 meters. It is estimated that 1500 meters long and 600 meters wide. See, this is a lake, Kajinsara Lake. It's a very beautiful lake. And next question. Cabinet approved a memorandum of understanding between India and Bangladesh on the withdrawal of water from the Feni River by India. Consider the following statements in this regard. First option, Feni is a transboundary river which originates in Tripura and enters Bangladesh. Second one, there has been no water sharing agreement between the countries on the Feni previously. Choose the correct code given below. Here, our both options are correct. So option C is the right answer. See the explanation. Recently, Union Cabinet approved a MOU between India and Bangladesh for this Feni River because there will be a scheme called as a drinking water supply scheme in the town of Tripura. The name of the town called as Sabroom town. So here we need a withdrawal of 1.82 cubic feet per seconds of water from the Feni River. See, this Feni River is a southeastern Bangladesh river. It originates in Tripura district and flows through Sabroom town and then enters into Bangladesh. Our next question, with reference to the Green Wall of India, consider the following statements. First one, it is an ambitious plan to create a 1400 km long and 5 km wide green belt from Gujarat to the Delhi-Haryana border. Second one, the objective of the India's Green Wall is first set focused on capacity building to help India participate in reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. Third one, it will check desertification by restoring degraded land through a massive afforestation. Here, we have to choose the incorrect code. See, this is very important. So, choose the incorrect code. Here, our first statement will be a right answer. And third statement, it will check desertification by restoring degraded land through massive afforestation. This is also a right option. But the second one, this is not the right objective. The objective here given is a wrong one. So our option will be C, 2 only. See, here is the explanation. Green Wall of India. It's nothing but it's an ambitious plan to create a 1400 km long and 5 km wide green belt from Gujarat to the Delhi-Haryana border. See, this is a green belt. It's from the Porbandar to Panipat. It covering entire Aravalli range. See, this is the area of Aravalli range. This green wall, this is called a green wall. This green wall acts as a barrier for dust from the western region. See, there will be a lot of problem around this Thar desert. Dust from this Thar desert entered into our eastern India. So this will be a major problem. So in order to avoid this, we try to build this green wall. So it will check desertification by restoring degraded land through massive afforestation. See here, this plan was inspired from Africa's Great Green Wall project. This Africa's Great Green Wall project running from Senegal to the Djibouti east. The objective of this India's Green Wall is to address the rising rate of land degradation. The problem here is a land degradation as well as eastward expansion of the Thar deserts. These are the two major problems in this area. So in order to avoid this area only, we are building this Green Wall of India. This green wall planned from Porbandar to Panipat in restoring degraded land through afforestation along the Aravalli Hills range, so that it will act as a barrier for dust coming from the deserts in western India. That's nothing but Thar desert and the Pakistan. Next one is about our Great Green Wall of Africa. The aim of this project is to restore the Africa's degraded landscapes and transform millions of lives, because this region is one of the world's poorest region. The region named called as Sahel. Sahel is nothing but it's a semi-arid region of western and north central Africa. It extends from Senegal to Sudan. See here, this is a Sahel region, Senegal to Sudan. This yellow region is a focused area. This green mark is about our participating countries. So this is about a Great Green Wall. See here, once it will be fully completed means it will one of the wonder of world which stretch across the entire width of the continent, because here we are having our savanna grasslands. In order to protect the savanna grasslands from this desert region, they will construct this Great Green Wall. Extra point about Aravalli mountain range is the oldest fold mountain. It spans over 800 kilometers from Gujarat to Delhi. Moreover, it has a highest peak, the name called as Guru Peak on Mount Abu. Please go through these points. And our next question, see there are a lot of concerns about this Aravalli range, unauthorized mining, and moreover the Thar desert expansion could be a major problem in this area. Moreover, it lost its ability to act as a natural barrier. That's nothing but Aravalli range lost its ability to act as a natural barrier. Our next question will be, with reference to the forest 2.0, forest plus 2.0, which of the following statements is or incorrect? See here, they are asking about incorrect code. First one, USAID and India's Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change officially launched Forest Plus 2.0 initiative. As this is a right statement. It focuses on developing tools and techniques to bolster ecosystem management and harnessing ecosystem services in the forest landscape management. This is also a right statement. So here they are asking about incorrect statement. So our option will be D, none. See, this is about this Forest 2 plus 2.0 project. A year program that focus on developing tools and techniques to bolster ecosystem management and moreover to harness the ecosystem services in forest landscape management. See, this Forest Plus 2.0 program, this only focused on capacity building to help India participate in reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. See the previous question, I have given this Forest 2 plus 0 objective as a objective of Great Green Wall of India. See, this is the objective of Forest Plus 2.0. So please be cautious about the objectives, aims, missions and visions. See about the program. See, in this program there are a lot of field test, innovative tools and moreover approaches for Indian forest management were developed. The major achievement of this program is promotion of biobrickweight and moreover introduction of solar heating system in Rampur as well as development of agroforestry model in Hoshangabad. These are the achievements of this program. So see, in this biobrickweight is the best replacement of fossil fuels. So this will be used for cooking and heating of water, etc. This is the target of this project plus 2.0. It targets of 1,20,000 hectares of land under improved management. Moreover, new inclusive economic activity worth of 12 million US dollar, as well as measurable benefits accrue to 8 lakh households. Please read this 3 focal point of action. First one is developing tools for multiple services in forest management, and then developing incentive based instrument for leveraging finance, and then unlocking economic opportunities for forest dependent people. So that's the end of our session. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.